Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. This one's mostly going to focus on what has, or rather what hasn't happened yet with the Avatar Legends role-playing game PDF rollout or launch. But first, there's a few things to get through here. Yes, it is more delays, and you may be wondering why I'm starting off with North and South Omnibus, a book that is out already. I have it. I have a review up already. It exists. How has it been delayed? Well, it seems like what's happened here is obviously the Dark Horse website here, so it is official. They have changed the date of this book to March 9th. Now, that is a Wednesday, so that's a comic book store date. The only way I can explain this, the fact that I have the book, other people have the book, is that it's going to be delayed for comic book stores. So basically for the release today, on the 23rd, which was previously the comic book store date, I guess comic stores won't have it today, or a lot of them won't, and that has been pushed back to March 9th. I would guess this is down to shipping issues, maybe related to whatever different distribution comic book stores have. Unfortunate, but you know, that seems to be the situation. It's the only way I can explain it, because Dark Horse won't, of course. So, yeah, one of those weird things of like, it was actually, well, over the last few years, it has typically been easier to get the books from other places rather than comic stores, but that's just how things are, unfortunately. So it means that this book doesn't get the benefit of having they actually announced it doesn't have a delay, because actually it got a last minute delay, so unfortunate there. Speaking of delays, this book has been delayed again. So the Chibi Comic Volume 1, Aang's Unfreezing Day, has been delayed for, I believe this is the 7th time that this book has been delayed. It's now coming out July 20th, 2022. I think its previous date was like June 28 or something like that. This is crazy. And I went back to check, okay, what was the original release date for this book when it was announced? So here's the video I did and when the book got announced. And you can see here in the article from Entertainment Weekly announcing it, July 27th, 2021. So it's basically been delayed by a year. And what's so interesting about this is that, you know, we're here on February 23rd saying that the book's out on July 20th. This video is from February 26th last year, and the release date is July 27th, 2021. So it's just like a year has passed, and the book has been delayed by a year. It's crazy how, to the day almost, it is accurate to that. So, this book that no one, I think, really knows how to consider, because again, we still don't know how canon or not it is, or what the situation is. And obviously with all these date pushbacks, it means preview pages, I guess, get pushed back. So, preview pages get pushed back, review copies get pushed back. So, you know, we're not going to find out about this book until probably like May, when we maybe get some preview pages. So, lots of disappointment here, because it's like the only Avatar comic really this year, apart from the Free Comic Book Day book. Also, Patterns in Time has been delayed as well. This is probably the more disappointing one, because this is like where most of our sort of mainline new content is coming from. This seems to be what Dark Horse are putting all their attention on for at least the first half of the year, while nothing else has been announced, because of the anniversary and so on. Obviously, it was delayed, has now missed the anniversary. Now it's out July 27th, 2022, so it just keeps going further and further back. I think this is delayed 3 or 4 for this book, and I expect it will probably be delayed again. I hope this book isn't delayed again, but it's impossible to predict what's happening with these books. And of course, Dark Horse continue to not say anything. Now, we know likely it's just due to the general COVID shipping issues, I guess. But they have had bad delays before. Like, especially Patterns in Time being so heavily and suddenly delayed seems to mirror match exactly what happened with Team Avatar Tales, which is the exact same type of book. It's going to have a few reprints and a few new stories with different creative teams, and both of these books are now quickly becoming some of the most delayed books we've ever had. And obviously the difference is that Team Avatar Tales was completely pre-COVID. This one is during COVID, and they look like they're having about the same problems. So not sure what's going on. Especially because, again, the whole thing with these is that like the book's going to be like more than half reprints. So there is only really like 30-ish pages of new content in this that will be split across probably 3, maybe 4 creative teams. So when you put it into perspective that way, it kind of feels like, whoa, what's causing these errors? So we finally get around to the Avatar Legends role-playing game. Now, you might be wondering if you've only been vaguely paying attention, like, oh, well, I thought we were getting the PDF, like, sometime soon. But no, we haven't got it yet. So, in their last update, if we just quickly go back to the update 24, they said, we estimate the deliveries will begin on February 21st. They'll be done in batches. So if you don't get your file on the 21st, be patient. We'll be posting an update on the 21st with the step-by-step guide. So that's what we went into this week sort of wondering, expecting. We got this getting your PDF update. Now, it gives a lot of information. It talks about how it's not going to be the absolute finalized version of the book because there are pieces of art that still have to get approval. But they do say that the text and layout are complete and final, other than maybe any typos or errors that we find when we do actually get our hands on this. Now, they do say they will offer feedback on this, so there'll be a feedback form here where you can send in any errors that you do find. So I suppose they're mostly thinking typos. For the most part, I'll mainly, I suppose, be looking for maybe lore errors if there are any. I assume that will be the part that's like most correct, so I don't think there will be, but just if there is any errors, there's where you go. Then they go to like, okay, how do you actually get it? So they're doing this whole thing of like, it's working through Drive-Thru RPG, which if you got the quick start guide, you know what it is. So they're just kind of going over the idea of like, if you don't have an account with Drive-Thru RPG, you don't have to worry. You don't need an account to access the PDF. There, you'll get an email from BackerKit that will basically do it all for you. And I think somehow on the back end, they've managed to like roughly make it work. Because it still ties in like to an account with Drive-Thru RPG, I think. They've been a bit weird about this. Again, this gets into some of the sort of slight miscommunication. But they seem to be making it clear that like if you do or do not have it, it's fine. But especially if your email on your Drive-Thru RPG account matches what you've used on the Kickstarter so far, you should be fine, no problem whatsoever. And then they're making it clear that like there's more than 80,000 PDFs to send out. If you don't have it by March 1st, then email us. Do not contact us about them before March 1st. The adventure guide will be coming afterwards. That's going through approvals right now. That's it. Now, you'll notice that what was missing from that was actually when the rollout of the PDFs is actually starting. So they say that you'll have it at some point, basically this week, which is before the end of the month. They say that like March 1st is the date that it all should be done by, that is the day after the deadline. That's when you should start asking for help if you haven't got it already. But they never once in this post actually say the rollout will start on this day. And so this started this whole thing of like people waiting on the 21st because everything pointed to the idea that the rollout is starting today because you posted this and we could get it this week. Then you go into the comments and you find out that actually the rollout isn't starting on this day. That it's actually, you know, it's actually like President's Day in America, and like they forgot about this when they set the date. And it's like, what? How did you get that so wrong? Because I don't get the impression that it was planned that the 21st wouldn't be the day where things actually kicked off. So it's just this weird error that they're doing everything in their power to basically make it clear to you. You, as the person who will receive the PDF, don't do this, 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 and this, or it will slow down our process. Meanwhile, they're forgetting that it's a holiday on the day they post their big update and it's meant to start. So that was disappointing. February 21st went by, nothing. And again, they don't say that in the update. Why don't you just communicate and say that here? This gets into this big problem of like, they're very open on like their Discord if you're part of it, and like what they say there. But the actual updates, which more people see, like don't have key pieces of information. And they're doing everything to like clarify this, clarify that, but they just don't say the thing that people are actually waiting for, which is that sign of like, you should get excited from this point on because this is when it's actually going to roll out. Similarly, another thing they revealed in the Discord that they didn't reveal here is how are they doing the sort of what determines what a batch is? Because by default, I just assumed that they would be doing it basically by Kickstarter number, which I think is relatively fair given that this project is a Kickstarter. That you sort of reward the people who backed you before all the extra goodies were part of the process. That seems relatively fair, and it's just a case of like, well, it's sort of on you if you missed this whole like excitement of the Kickstarter and are only finding out about it now. They have decided to do the batches randomly. Now, they haven't described the process for that, but I guess they've just done, complete randomness here. So there's a right now unknown day this week where the rollout will actually start. That will then leave them either 6 or less days to send out 80,000 PDFs in batches that are random. And because they're random, it just creates this weird dynamic where like no one in like groups is going to have their books at like the same time. Depending on how it goes, like certain people, like say all content creators for some reason happen to get bad luck randomly. No one's covering necessarily the details of the book, so no one finds out about it. I just feel this is a really weird way to do it. I get from their perspective, they feel this is the absolute fairest way to do it. But it also, I think, is the way that probably will end up generating the most frustration. Because you are going to, like, when it finally starts, you're just going to be waiting there at your email at the time when the emails drop. And just basically thinking, spin the wheel today, have I won? Have I won this thing I bought? And you kind of take a step back and realize that, wait, I'm getting too far into their process. This is the launch of this game, effectively. This is the launch of the core book for this game. How are you, like, messing up your launch like this? That you haven't found some way to make it so that people can get this book closer together and actually have this exciting launch day thing. Instead, it's this launch week where for most of those days, you're going to have just consistently a lot of people who are frustrated that my friend got their book, I didn't get mine. And sure, they're saying that, like, okay, you can't share the files publicly because I think they go over it in this post that, like, they're going to be, like, watermarked and stuff like that. Yeah, they're going to be invisibly marked, tied to your account and stuff like that. And that maybe seems to be why, even on the 22nd, yesterday, the PDF rollout still didn't start, which was, I think, even more frustrating than, like, okay, the 21st, it was a holiday, they can't start. But the fact that it didn't even go out yesterday, and that, like, Magpie seemed to even not really know what was going on. I think on Discord, they're currently, like, kind of teasing the idea that, yeah, probably tomorrow, so today. Now, obviously, for me, it's still really relatively early Ireland time, so it's still going to be, I suppose, in or around 8 to 10 hours from now. But, still, I think a lot of the excitement surrounding the release of this book has drained out of it. And it's just for me, like, who wants to cover this? And because it is the first new piece of Avatar content in, like, 6.5 months. Because, like, what the free comic last year was in August. So we're in, like, February going into March. Like, it's going to be most of 6.5 months between official releases. And to get the new release finally and it to be this spin the wheel today, spin the wheel tomorrow, and so on. I hope I get it day one, but, you know, knowing our luck as a fandom, knowing my luck, I suppose, with my news predictions in a way, I'm probably going to be one of the last people to get it. So, and then to be part of the excitement, I kind of feel like, well, I'm probably going to have to rely on someone posting some screenshots of the new information for me to cover it if that's the case. Just so I'm not like behind the curve on this, waiting for my luck to finally come my way. Again, that's the worst possible scenario. It's just, how has it come to this? And that just feels like this kind of Kickstarter sort of start to finish, is that they communicate well. They have 25 updates. And there's a lot of text here, but it leaves out the key piece of information. All the important stuff, you kind of like have to be on Discord to actually get proper updates. And it just kind of feels like, okay, I don't think that the thing's falling apart here or anything like this. But this is not an enjoyable release like it sort of should be. Because there's going to be a lot of frustration when the emails do start to finally go out. And you realize, oh, I've missed it today. I don't get it today. So, I don't know. I get it. They're making it clear that, you know, because it got 80,000 backers, this has made it very difficult to handle, and they sort of have to do this. But it feels like, was there nothing that could have been done to just facilitate this going a little bit quicker? And then there's also the fact that, like, they haven't previewed the book at all, so we don't even know that the book will be sort of, you know, good necessarily. So what if we get it and sort of the information isn't great? So, you know, what could be a very exciting thing could go very, very wrong in the end. And then let's not forget that obviously most of the delays are with the physical stuff, and you know, who knows how that's gonna go when they finally properly get around to that, and they send stuff to the printers and they're getting all the extra stuff made. Like, we're still waiting to see like finalized images of this and that with these approvals happening, but hopefully today there'll be a sign that things are actually happening, because we sort of just need something to go right with this project, because it's felt like a little bit of like, here's an update, generally positive, but here's this sort of key negative that holds things back. So they're my thoughts on the news so far. So basically, Legends update, still don't have anything, and delays for like all the comics, it seems like. What are your thoughts on this? But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.